Sagt Avoda zara daf nun hey. We're starting from Nun Dalet on the base, 3 lines from the bottom. When the guy heard the words of Ram Gamil, that he calls him Kelev Amaz, so Amalei. So the guy said to Ram Gamil, Kelev atar kareisa, Maze atar kareisa. You're calling it a dog. You're calling the idols a dog. You're calling the idols a maze. So you see, there's no need for a Kelev or mace. So in Kenya, you have done an island. Let the Eibush to destroy these idols from the world. If they goyim would have only, or these people would have only served idols that the world doesn't need it, the Eibush would have got rid of them. But we know that they idolize we know that they idolized and they worship the sun, the moon, the constellation, the stars, the constellations, the seas, and the valleys. Should I then destroy the whole world because of these shaitim? And so it also it says in the pasuk, I will destroy everything that's upon the earth, says Hashem. I will destroy man and behema, all the birds of the heaven, and all the fish of the seas, and those that are mixture that the Rishayim that stumble on. Kavayach Leibishter was wondering, should I consume everything from upon the earth? Because the Rishayim, the wicked, stumble and idolize man, behema, or birds, or the fish, and the yam. Should I destroy all these creatures from the world? We know that they serve, idolize men, people. Should I destroy man from upon the earth because people worship man? So you might have been a different shaila, a similar shaila, that the Yesam Gamil, Shol Agrifas, Sahatzovas, Ham Gamil, Agrifas, who was the head general, is Ham Gamil, Ksibet Teraschem, it's written in your Torah when they gave to the Isav Avoda zara, Hashem Alekecha Eishachluha Kel Kana. It says Hashem, your God, consumes fire because he's jealous. So Agrifas, and the kavanah is that Hashem is jealous for they're worshiping the gods. So it doesn't make sense that the Eibush should be jealous of a piece of wood that they idolize. Mela Chacham, a wise man in his level, he's jealous of a wise man. Or Gibber is jealous of somebody who's stronger than him. Or Asher is jealous of somebody who's richer than him. So Gamil answered and he said to him, I will explain you with a mashal. What is this compared to a man who married a second woman, which is chashuv mimena, which is more aristocratic, more chashuv than the first one. Aim is kind of the woman is not jealous. The first one is not jealous of it because he sees the man has good taste, and he took somebody very chashuv. But chus mimena. But if he took a woman less valuable than her, then the first one, Miskanaba, she's jealous because she gets angry on the husband and she hates him for this that he married a bimbo or something less of quality than her, and that's why the Eibush is angry. Why are they accepting I'm God and they're accepting wood, pieces of wood? That's where Hashem gets angry. That's what the pshat of Kilkan is. Amalei. The Yisol, there was a Yisol that was named, his name was Zunin. He said to Rabbi Akiva, we know my heart, your heart knows that the idols have no mamoshes, and it helps them. It doesn't have any effect. We see people that go into the church when their feet are broken, and they return with the complete limbs. My time, what's the reason? I'll give you an example of what this is compared to. That there was a trustworthy person in the city. Everybody trusted him, and they would give him to hold their things, to watch for them, even without Adam. And there was one person that came that didn't rely. He only, when he would give it to this person, he would only give it with Adam. One time he forgot. And he gave it without Adam. His wife said to him, come and let's deny everything that he never gave us. We'll teach him a lesson for not trusting us. So the husband says, because of this shaita who did not fitting and didn't trust us, we're going to lose our trust by these people. So too by Yisurim. Also the messenger of Yisurim, of torture, Mashbinais, when we make him swish, the sickness should not come only on that specific day, not before. And it should not leave only that specific day and that specific hour. And only through this doctor, and only through this medicine. Once it reaches the time that the shliach who brings these sicknesses has to take it away, and so he happened to go to the church at that exact same time when the shliach will have to remove the yisurim. So the shliach of the one that brought the sickness said, "Dinhu shalei neitze." Really, the din is we shouldn't remove these sicknesses because he went to the church. But then we say, because this shaita went to and idolized and worshipped Avoda zara, should we not fulfill our mission that David to give us a shlichus to remove, and that's even though it's the exact same time we went to church to remove the sickness? And it has nothing to do with the church. So that's why don't believe that the church has any effect. Avoda zara has any effect. The Gemara brings a similar story. This Maima is the Amar Rabbi Yochanan, is what Rabbi Yochanan had said. What is the explanation of the pasuk? It says the bad sicknesses are great and faithful. What does it mean? That they come to bring sickness on the goof. But Namanim and the faithful b'shvuasan in their shvua that they said they're going to bring it specifically that time, and they're going to remove it specifically at the time that they were supposed to remove it, even though the person is not fitting that it should be removed. So the Gemara brings a tshuva to the shaila similar. What Amalei Rabba Bar Rav Yitzchak Yehuda Aikabes Avid Zicham Maasen, there's an idol in the place, in our place, Maasen in our place, the Chimatzcha Amalamitra, when we would need rain, Mischaz Lebechalma, the Avoda zara would be shown in a dream to the people of the city, and it'd say to them, Shachtali Gavra, slaughter a person and will bring rain. They would slaughter a person, and the rain would come. So Rabbi Yehuda answered to Rabbi the same. Now, if I wouldn't have been in this world, I wouldn't have been able to tell you the following saying to answer your question. What is the explanation of the pasuk? The Melamed Sheichlikon Hashem Cholamim B'Dvarim, that the Eibishter tricked the nations and make it as if that Avoda zara has an effect, and through and make them think that it heals them or it makes rain. The Eibishter does it to mislead them in order to get rid of them from this world because for serving our idols. Yibara brings a similar story. What is this that it says in the pasuk? In the leitzim who yalitz, if for scoffers Hashem scorns them. But for the humble ones, Hashem gives them grace. Meaning, if a person comes to impurify things, Hashem allows him to do it. It allows him to make his mistake. That's im leleitz and uyalitz. But somebody who's coming to purify himself, not only is he we allow him, but Messiah Noisa, we even help him to go on the right path. Sagt die Mishnah, Leukach in Gat beuta min hayt a yid could buy a vat that was trotted on from a goy with the grapes in it, which is the place where they would trot on the grapes to make wine, even after he trotted, and so he could still buy it. And even after the trotting, he found some grapes. He takes the grapes and he places it on the pile. And he places it on the pile to be squeezed out, to be trotted on. Those grapes that weren't yet trotted on, the guy put it on that pile. So through doing that, he doesn't make the wine into yayin nesach, and it doesn't become yayin nesach till it comes down. If it's squeezed, it goes through a pipe into a pit. Only once it's in the pit, that's when it's yayin nesach. Yarad laber, if the wine already came into the beir, he says whatever's already in the beir is asa, and the rest is going to be mutter. Zog the Mishnah weiter. Till now, the Mishnah explained about wine of or vat that's being bought from a guy. Now we're going to talk about if he's working with a guy and trotting on the grapes in order to make wine together with a guy in a vat, but a vat that belongs to a guy, and he gets paid for the yit. He's working with a guy. So that's not considered as he's having enough from yayin nesach, because the kolzman, the wine did not go into the cistern, into the pit. It's not going to be us at all, even if the guy touched it. But he cannot cut off the grapes from the vine, almanas, to place it into the vat, because the anovim, the giving of the anovim into the vat is l'shem, to trot on it and to make wine, and the trotting of a guy on it is tummy, is mimetame. And at that time, there were liquid that came out of the grapes, and that were machshir the other grapes l'kabel tuma. So by helping the guy in cutting the grapes, causes that it should become tummy, and you're not allowed to cause tuma on chulindik grapes of Eretz Yisrael. The Mishnah explains the din of making wine with a yid bituma yisol shehu also isa yisol that's being misasi with the peidas bituma in impurity like a yid who's not careful and he's dealing with the peidas in tuma. You're not allowed to trot or cut off peidas grapes with him, because he's helping him bring closer these grapes to the vat, which will purify the grapes. Just like the reasoning that we asked at Mitzir Ba'Goy, so too here. This says is the lagas, but he can bring with him the empty barrels to the vat in order to put in the wine, and he can bring the barrels when they're filled min hagas from the vat to the house, since the wine was already tamei, he had nothing to do with it. So there's no Avoda in giving him a hand in the barrels, because he's not helping in the tumah itself. The Mishnah continues, Nachtem, a similar din, a baker, somebody who needs dough for baking in an oven, that he deals with the dough in impurity, you're not allowed to knead, nor you're not allowed to make any form or braid with them, because the whole mice of the kneading and the braiding is part of the Avoda, and it's something forbidden to help in doing an Avoda. But you're allowed to carry the bread, or the dough, which has to be baked in order to become bread, la palta, to the baker, because since the kneading and the form, the braiding had already been finished, so the mais aveda had been finished. All he's doing is delivering. Delivering is not considered helping in doing an aveda. Rav Huna had said, Yayin, from when does the touching of the goy ask the wine? Rav Huna says, Yayin by wine, from when the wine started to flow into the vat, into the vat from the side on the top, its top, towards the bottom. So it's considered as wine. It already becomes yayin nesach. Like we learned the Mishnah, we just learned that a yid could buy a vat that was trodden on from a guy, even if the guy took the grapes from the vat and he placed it onto the pile to be trodden on. So kolzman, the wine is in the vat, it's not considered as wine, and it doesn't become yayin nesach with the guy touching it. So it's mashma, even if it started to flow and to run down the vat, it's not considered yayin. Not like Rav Huna, who says it is aser. And Rav Huna, this that the Mishnah said that the wine in the vat is not yayin nesach, and it's talking about that it was closed up. They closed up the pipe that was in the mouth of the base, so the wine shouldn't be able to go into the cistern, and it was filled with grapes and wine that was squeezed out, and the wine did not come down at all into the cistern. So if it didn't come into the cistern, it's not considered as wine when you get to the Isa of Yain Nesach. That's why you're allowed to buy it from the guy. He calls man, it didn't come into the cistern. But here, where we said it's us, it's talking about it's flowing directly into the cistern. Tashma, it wasn't clogged up. Tashma, coming here, we learned in the Hamshkal, the Mishnah, it doesn't become Yain Nesach till it comes into the cistern. So you see, Yain Nesach, even though it's flowing, it started to flow, it's not considered as Yain Nesach. And Rav Huna says, yes, it is, once it starts flowing. Al-Hanami here also is talking about the gat kuka umalei. It's talking about that it was clogged up, the pipe from entering into the cistern, and the vat was filled up with grapes and wine, and that's not considered as yayin nesach. But what Rav Huna was talking about, it wasn't clogged up. Tashma, if the wine entered into the cistern, whatever's in the cistern is asva, and the rest is mutter. So you see, even though the wine started to flow into the bay, nevertheless, what's in the vat is mutter. So how could it be mutter if it's entering into the cistern? It's not a kasher. This that we learned in the Mishnah, that the wine in the vat is not considered yayin nesach, even though it started to flow, is the Mishnah Shena before the Chacham retracted the Kan. And this that we said right when it starts flowing, it's already considered yayin nesach, is by Mishnah, and it's talking about the last nusach after the Chacham retracted. The time that we learned in the Maisa, but Shena at the beginning, the Chacham Beis Daladalid, which is the Ashteves of Beitzim, harvesting and trotting. Derchem. Ein Beitzim imay evticham vegas. You cannot harvest with a guy in the vat. Shasli goyim to melechulin shabbos yisol. It's forbidden to cause impurity to chulin that's in Eretz Yisrael, so that you're not allowed to join with a guy. Nor can you trod with a yid who is tummy and deals with the payers in a pure way, because he's being Avoda with that, because it's forbidden to impurify chulin in Eretz Yisrael. And since through your trotting, liquid comes out and it's machshir the payers l'kavatuma, so it's becoming immediately impure from the vat. So you see that the trotting is the ikar of the tumah. That's why you're not allowed to help him in this action. It's forbidden to help, for an Avoda. Well, with the guy, he could, because the guy already, and he's not causing any tumor with that, because the guy, right at the beginning of the trotting, he was metamed. So he's not really helping for the Avoda, because the guy was not nitztaba, it wasn't commanded not to impurify. So there's no Iser in the in the trotting of the grapes, but we are helping a guy. So the Mishnah we're not concerned with the Avoda. There we weren't concerned when the wine started to come, it started to flow. According to Avuna, is considered Yayin Nesach. We weren't concerned about what Avuna says, because we're going with the first Mishnah that says only till it falls into the cistern, only then does it become Yayin Nesach. But then the Chacham retracted from the first words Lema, Devad, meaning Deichim, Beitzim, and Deichem, Beitzim, and Beitzim. The trotting and harvesting and harvesting. Ain't Deichem, Chacham Bagat. You cannot trot with a guy in the vat to earn together with the guy for trotting on it. Helped by the Yid trotting with the guy, he cannot take a schafrit, because the yayin that's being squeezed out through the trotting on it is already considered yayin nesach, because from the beginning of the flow it has a din like yayin nesach. So it's one of the reason why over here we said it's going to be us for him to trot with the guy and to receive schar mishum de avhuna. The last Mishnah held like the words of avhuna, that once the wine started to flow in the vat to go to the cistern, it's already, even though it didn't enter the cistern as of yet, it's considered yayin nesach, and that's why it was forbidden for you to help out a guy in the trotting or take schar, because the one that's helping is receiving reward in something of yayin nesach. Vein beitzin im yisol sheisapei reisa betuma. This okay. Vein beitzin im yisol sheisapei reisa betuma, and you're not allowed to harvest with a yid who makes his paytas, who deals with his paytas with impurity, since he's taking part with the yid who's being metamet, and you're not allowed to be metamet. You're not allowed to be metamet chulin. So, and he's partaking, he's getting a schar for that. He's not allowed to receive schar for an aveda that he's helping in purifying chulin. And how much more so you're not allowed to trot, because the yid is trotting, it doesn't care about the tumah, and in the trotting itself, the grapes become tummy, and he's helping this avayan, this yid who doesn't care about tumah. But he's allowed to harvest with a guy in the vat, because a guy are not mechuyev in the hafrashas tumah like the peiros of a guy. They don't have this tzivoy that they're not allowed to be matama the peiros. Stop here.